What's up, guys? This is Coach Grant with First Down Training, and welcome to the film session of how we're going to break down running a slant against press coverage when the DB's inside leverage. This is a common question I get asked a lot, and this is something a lot of receivers struggle with, so let's get started. And also, guys, please leave in the comments the next video you guys would like to see. I would really appreciate that. So, off of this, we're going to watch this thing in full speed. So he gives a little hesitation hop, and we call this a diamond release. So here, hesitation, 1, 2, 3, attack the outside. Now catch this ball. Now we're going to break this thing down. So, DB's lined up inside leverage. He's taking away the inside. So what this receiver has to do is he has to get this DB to widen out. Now, a diamond release, first one's called a diamond release, is a great way to do that. So he kind of gives this little hesitation hop here, as you can see with his left foot, to kind of get a read on the DB. He's just gathering information right now on this DB. Now he's going to start attacking his outside for 3 hard steps. So 1, 2, 3, and attack him, always having a plan with our hands, guys. But here's one thing I think he could have improved on. You see how his shoulders stay square? He knows that he's just a more physical receiver than this guy, and he could swat him by. So that's why it works. But if this DB was a more physical guy, you want to get your hips and you want to get your shoulders angled on more of a 45 degree to this sideline to get this DB to fully commit his hips. But the DB already commits his hips. The DB does a great job for us of doing that. Not for him, but doing a great job of us doing that. But see, he sticks his foot, third step in the ground, exploding off that inside arch. You could see his shin angled. That's how we explode out of any kind of break. Anytime we make a stick on a release, on a route, that's where we want our foot to be. That's where we want our shin angles. Now, notice where he's attacking him, right on his shoulders, swatting him by. And no, that's not a penalty. I get that question asked a lot too. That is not a penalty, guys. Attacking the back of his shoulder, swatting him by, getting his hips turned. This is a very bad position for this DB to be in. And when he explodes, what's the first thing that comes back around? His eyes. He shoots his eyes back inside to this quarterback. He's exploding off that outside leg. DB has no idea where he's at. His back is almost turned, and then he's able to run, accelerate out, and catch this ball, and then get upfield. Let's watch this thing full speed one more time. So hesitation, gathering information, 1, 2, 3, swat him by, snap that head around, catch this ball, get upfield. Okay, so this is the same receiver for Oklahoma. Now this is going to be a foot fire release. So let's watch this thing full speed. So we call that a foot fire release, stick, explode up into this route, guys. So this is another way you can attack press where the DB is maybe inside leverage, not so much on this time. He's more head up on him, but you're running a slant versus press coverage. Now, I think this pretty much accomplishes the same thing as a diamond release. What we're trying to do is get this DB to turn his hips, commit to the sideline, put our foot in the ground, and then we shoot back inside. So what he's coming off, this is what receiver coaches mean when we say beat the drum with our hands. This is exactly what we mean. Beat the drum, beat the drum. Fast hands, fast feet. Fast hands, as fast as your hands go, the faster your feet are going to go. So he gives this sudden stick again. Toes forward, look at that shin angle, exploding off the inside arch of his foot, going to be shooting back up into this route. Now, what he does here is he does a good job of closing the gap with this DB. He's getting this DB on his heels, making this DB backpedal, making him back up a little bit. The weight is shifted to the back of his legs. Now, when he gives this stick, I want you to notice what his head and what his shoulders do. He gives a little bit of a shoulder shake, a little bit of head movement to the outside, and this gets this DB completely, all it takes is just one step right here. This one step gets this DB outside, all of his weight's on his outside leg, and we're exploding off of our outside leg. He's not. He's off balance. His weight's on the outside of his foot, and we're able to explode up, not even having to use our hands, not even doing anything like that, and catch this ball. Foot fire release is a great way to get some separation on a slant when you have press coverage. So let's watch this thing full speed again. So fast hands, fast feet, stick, gets this DB on his outside, and he's able to explode up and catch this ball. All right, so this is Stevie Johnson. This is some film from training camp. Now, this is a slide him release. He's going to slide him 2 times, then makes an aggressive 1-2, almost basketball crossover move. So we call this a slow play release, and this is a great release to use only on the route when you're running a slant or when you're running a fade, because if you have anything else, it's going to screw up the timing. So let's watch this thing here. Slide, 1-2, gets that DB off platform, catches this ball, then he bursts upfield. One thing I want you to notice about all these guys is when they catch it, they burst upfield. Right after they catch, they look it in, they burst upfield. So what he's doing is this DB's taking away his inside. He's lined up inside leverage. He's not going to give up anything inside because of man coverage. So he starts to slide him outside. This DB ain't going to slide for forever. Eventually, he's going to commit his hips, but he doesn't commit his hips this time. Stevie Johnson just does a very great basketball-like move to get him off this platform. So he slides him 1, 2, bam, stick, 1, 2. So he slides him twice, 1, to getting this DB to commit, almost not fully commit his hips, but he already committed his hips. Right now, Stevie Johnson knows he's got him. He's got him beat. DB's not getting any hands on him. He stays in that range. Anytime we're working a slow play release like this, we want to stay in that range where the DB, if he's going to make contact with us, he has to initiate contact. Then we just swat him by, we attack his elbows and get him off. But right now, he's in that great range where the DB has no idea. He's just playing him. He's just playing his hips, and that's bad for him. That's really good for us, bad for him. So now he makes this basketball-like move, almost looking like Allen Iverson. You could see his knees almost hitting the ground. That's how much he's pushing off this inside arch. He puts his second foot in the ground, exploding off this inside arch, gives a little bit of head and shoulder movement here, as you can see with his upper half. Gets this DB to fully commit, fully run outside. That first step is selling like he's just going to try to run a fade off this right now. He explodes off that, looking for this ball, catches this ball, then comes back upfield. Let's watch this thing full speed again. So slide him 1-2, 1-2 stick, gets the DB completely off his platform, slid him completely off that platform, and catches this ball. So this is another hesitation release. Davante Adams, one of the best at working this kind of release. So he's going to be taking just a little bit of a hesitation with his feet off right now off this line. Now what he does by this hesitation is he's again, just like the first clip that I showed you, he's getting a read on this DB. Let's watch this thing full speed. 1-2, explodes up into this route, catches that ball. That's a great job working this hesitation release with a 1-2 stick off of it. So, hesitation here. What does this hop do? Look at his eyes. His eyes are reading this DB. How's he going to play me? Is he going to try to jam me? Is he going to try to jam me with his hands? Is he going to backpedal right now? Maybe it's bail. Maybe it's a bail technique. But this DB staying squared up. Again, Davante Adams is staying in that range where this DB has to initiate contact. And when he comes forward, then that's when we work our hands. That's why we always got to have a plan for our hands, guys. So he's coming off here, and he does that same basketball-like move Stevie Johnson does, 1-2, exploding off this inside arch, as you can see right here. You can look at the shin angle, pushing off that inside part of his foot, giving some head and shoulder movement on the second stick, exploding here. Now, what I want you to see here, he does a great job of when he's swatting him by. Again, we always talk about this, points of control. He swats him by with his right arm, slapping that elbow by to get some separation, because that's just him recovering. All of his weight's on this outside leg. He's already accelerating up into this route, but this is just to avoid that recovery, attack his elbow, swat his hands off you, snap that head around, and catch this ball up the middle of the field. Let's watch this thing full speed again. So hesitation, 1-2. Slap that hand off, catch this ball, get upfield. All right, so now this is another technique that you can use when you're running a slant against press. This one, he's taken away the inside completely. So what he has to do is he has to get this DB turned. He has to get him thinking that he might be just working a fade or taking some kind of outside release. So let's watch this thing full speed. Then comes back inside and catches that ball. Now, he takes a little bit of a hesitation hop here. This is kind of like the release that Davante Adams is doing, 1-2. So he takes a little bit of hesitation. I want you to watch his right leg. Hesitation, 1-2. Sudden stick exploding off this inside arch, exploding off this inside arch to be explosive on that release, keeping a great pad level so he could be explosive and quick. Now, when he attacks up, you want to attack upfield for 3 hard steps. Now, what he starts to do is he starts to peek back to this quarterback. Now, what that does is that gets him to overcommit this DB because he's thinking it's just going to be a quick fade right now. There's a goal line situation trying to beat him over the top, so he has to recover. That 1-2 got him on his heels a little bit. Got him hopping. He's only way on this left leg, so he has to do something to recover. Now, when he comes up 3 steps, he pushes off this inside arch of his foot, real explosive. Now, he swats him by. He's got a plan for both of his hands. A lot of receivers will just swat him by right here and leave this left one underneath. Now, I love that he uses the chop technique, chops his hands off and gets complete separation even after selling the fade, even after he's done enough, because he's trying to grab him. He would rather take the penalty than maybe giving up a touchdown right now. So he does a great job swatting, using both of his hands, getting his hands off, snaps his head back around and catching this ball for a touchdown over the middle. But the only reason this worked is because he sold that fade for hard 3 steps upfield. So 1-2, 1-2, 3, look back, peek back. That got this DB to bite, shoots back underneath, and catches this ball. Let's watch this thing full speed. So 1-2, 1-2, 3. Swat him by, catch this ball. Okay, so this is kind of the same idea. I want you to see Amari Cooper. He's going to be working almost the same exact release, but he's going to be doing this thing twice. There's 2 ways you can approach this. So this DB, little less cushion in the next video. The next video you're going to see is going to be a lot more cushion, so I want you to watch this. Hesitation, 1-2, 1-2, 3, snap back underneath. That's the exact same release we just saw from the Jaguars receiver right there. So what I want you to see, hesitation with this foot, and then 1-2. So 1-2. Hesitation one right there. Just picks it up and puts it down. Gets a read on this DB. 1-2. Exploding off that inside arch. He's pushing. He's looking over this outside shoulder now. He's selling this vertical. 1-2. 3, sudden stick, making this thing very sudden. This is the definition of a sudden stick on a route right here. Exploding off this leg, being very explosive with this stick, pushing off that inside arch, getting this DB. Look how committed his hips are. That's a position he doesn't want to be in when he's that far from Amari Cooper. He doesn't have hands on him. That's a recipe for disaster for that DB because he's got his hips fully committed. So here, 1-2, 1-2, 3, sudden stick. Doesn't even need to swat him by. This DB's hips are fully committed because Amari Cooper attacked his outside, looking over his outside shoulder, selling this fade, able to come back underneath and catch this ball. So let's watch this thing again. And what I want you to notice is look at his eyes. His eyes are looking like he's just going vertical right now. I got to get vertical. I'm going to try to beat this guy over the top. And he was screwing with this DB the entire game, as you're going to see in this next video. Puts his foot in the ground, shoots back underneath for this slant. Let's watch this thing full speed. So hesitation, 1-2. 3 steps outside, catch this ball, make the DB look foolish. Now, okay, so I want you to see. Amari Cooper's off the ball, so he's got a little bit more cushion with this guy. Now, this release only works if you can close this cushion, get this guy on his heels, and get him thinking fade, okay? So what does he do? He takes his little hesitation, 1-2. Okay, so he closes this gap, 1, 2, 3, 4, or 3, I'm sorry, excuse me. So 1, 2, 3. Now, he takes these 3 steps here to close this gap. He didn't just do the exact same release that he did. He was more forward. He didn't just do this thing. The last release he did, it was more in place. He did this release about right in this space because he had less cushion with this DB, but now this cushion's on his, now this DB's backpedaling, giving him a little bit more space, so he has to do something to close the distance with him. So he comes off, 1, 2, coming off right here, 1, 2, 3, exploding, closing the gap with this DB. Now he's really got to attack this outside. He's looking over his outside shoulder again, getting this guy to turn his hips, getting him to close his hips. 3, sudden stick. He's reaching. He's staying out of that range with Amari Cooper. He can't get hands on him. He snaps that head back around, and then he's able to catch this ball and get upfield. The exact same route, but the only thing that changed was how the DB was lining up. So what he had to do was he had to close this gap with this DB, get him on his heels just a little bit more, attack his outside, sudden stick right here with a little bit of head and shoulder movement, then explode back over the middle and catch this ball on a slant. Let's watch this thing full speed. 3, bam. Attack him outside hard, 3 steps. All right, guys, so those are some ways you can attack press when you're running a slant route. I hope you enjoyed this video. And again, please leave in the comments who you guys would like to see me break down next or what kind of video you guys would like to see next. I'll see you guys next time.